Hello, everyone. Welcome to New Gen Politics. So, this week, Jordan Peterson said on Twitter that a Pence presidency would restore some normalcy and that it could be a relief. Well, I'm going to have to strongly disagree. Now, I respect Jordan Peterson. I think he is a great speaker. I think he has good ideas. He communicates a positive message for people. And usually, most of his viewpoints are well thought out, but this one, I don't think it's thought out very well at all. Now, I can understand where he's coming from to some respect. The last decade has been incredibly turbulent, even starting in 2015 with the primary season before the 2016 elections, all the way to now. Politics has been crazy. The culture has shifted dramatically, and things seem to be accelerating. So I can understand how we would want some reprieve from this, but I think it's a mistake to want that. In these times of trials and tribulations, what we need is we need to push forward. We need change. And change doesn't come from being stagnant, which is exactly what you'd get with a Pence presidency, is you would get a stagnation of all of the conservative policies that have been put in place and this sort of Trump movement that started, this populist conservative movement. And whenever we see a quote unquote principled Republican get into office, yeah, they bring stability for 4 years, but it's a stability where they just lose slower. When a Democratic candidate is in place, things accelerate really fast, and the policies they want to get through get pushed through really quickly. And when a Republican candidate is in office, the same principles that the Democrats want still get pushed through, just at a slower rate. And the Republicans are usually willing to either totally give in or concede, or are willing to compromise, which ends up they'll take half. The Democrats will take half of the Republicans' term, and then they'll take another half on the next decision, and another half, and another half, and then when they're in office, they'll take 100%. And I think Mike Pence is one of the worst offenders for this. He's so honestly bland and boring. His politics are incredibly outdated, back to the neocon era, and he's not going to really give us a reprieve or normalcy. He'll just ensure that we lose a little bit slower, but he'll guarantee that things don't change for the better. Luckily, this doesn't seem like it'll be an issue moving forward. When you look at 538, a polling website that accumulates several different polls and compounds them, Pence has a 55.3% disapproval rating. The only person with a worse disapproval rating is Kamala Harris at 56%, which is only 0.7% more than Mike Pence. Most of the Trump Republicans, the MAGA crowd, hate Pence for certifying the election, not giving them a chance to argue their case on election fraud in 2020, and feeling betrayed by Pence. And the party has moved further towards Trump's side of the spectrum. So Pence has gotten left behind there. And then which Democrat or moderate is going to vote for Mike Pence? Really? Why would you ever vote for him? The traditional Republican has almost become a centrist or a moderate. And the fact that no side really wants them, the far right, which is what's taking over the Republican Party, and the left as a whole, nobody wants a, quote, principled Republican candidate. And even that term, principled Republican, when I hear principled Republican, all I can think is, I'm going to do nothing. I don't want to stir things up. I don't want change. I think I'm better than everybody, and therefore I'm going to stand out there and I'm going to look good and choose my words very tactfully in every press conference and not make any waves because I'm principled. I'm always going to compromise. I'm always going to say things that I don't mean and never keep the promises I make. Just a bunch of words of fluff. And that's kind of that's the sort of attitude that created Trump, is this rejection of that standard politician that we've gotten for decades and decades from the right and conservatives. And so we're not going to see this uprising, this Pence rising, he'll continue to flounder in the polls, and we'll continue to see this grand sweeping time. We're seeing a time of great change, and any candidate that doesn't want to hurl the country in one way or the other, just drag it really far left or really far right, is going to get left behind. We're in an era now more than ever where you have to choose a side. The sides have gotten so far apart, you can't take a little from either side because a lot of the issues are so one or the other. And people's desires are to completely trounce out the other side. They don't want to compromise, they don't want to make deals. They want total submission of the other side politically. And so that leaves these sort of moderate establishment candidates like Pence with nowhere to call home. So I think it was a big mistake for Jordan Peterson to say this. I think he misread the situation and how people actually feel about Mike Pence and how people feel about wanting the sense of stability. They don't want a reprieve. What they want is real, genuine change. Change that's not going to come every 4 years. They want change that's lasting and that they can see a brighter future. You know, why take a rest when you're just ignoring your problems? And that's what a Pence presidency will do, is just ignore all the problems, pretend they're not there, and let them get worse over 4 years while masking it with nice words and good photo ops. So I hope Jordan Peterson reconsiders his perspective on this, because he does have a lot of influence over young voters. But I don't think this will cause people to vote for Pence. I think this will just cause people to lose respect for Jordan Peterson, which is not something that is necessarily a good thing when you consider all the good he's done to help the average person through this time of mental health crisis and what's going on in people's daily lives. So I hope he reconsiders, and I look forward to seeing the campaign of Pence go nowhere. Now that you've heard what I think, please let me know what you think down in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.